Hey everyone, if you love that classic mix of action, strategy, and intergalactic hero stories, the Mega Man Star Force Legacy Collection has a ton of tricks that can completely change your playthrough. Today, I'm going to share 10 advanced tips that will get you ready to face any space virus and dominate every battle with style. I'm Matthew, and let's get into it! Do you know that moment when everyone gets stuck fighting the same bosses repeatedly? I've been there too. The truth is, the secret to truly evolving in the Mega Man Star Force Legacy Collection isn't just about having a good folder, but how you utilize each card. And the tip that will completely change the way you play is simple, but requires focus. Master counter hits in every game in the collection. It's not just about hitting the enemy, it's about hitting them on the exact frame they begin their attack. When you pull this off, the game rewards you in a way many don't even imagine. This perfect timing gives you much more than simple extra damage. Every time you land a counter hit, you earn a random bonus card from your entire folder. Yes, from all the cards you loaded, not just the 6 you selected on the custom screen. This is a game changer because it means even that rare card you left out can appear in your hand mid-battle. Think about it. You're there, about to lose, and suddenly exactly the card you needed to turn the tide appears. It's pure magic when you start seeing this possibility in every confrontation. And here comes the best part, especially if you play Star Force 2 or 3. When you hit that perfect counter hit, it doesn't just give you a bonus card. It guarantees that this card is a Star Force Big Bang or Noise Force Big Bang. This is huge because these cards are game breakers in tight situations. To achieve this consistently, I recommend using multi-hit or high-speed cards. Think of the sword series, like wide sword or long sword, or spread shots. They are fast enough to allow you multiple attempts in a single turn, drastically increasing your chances of catching that counter on the right frame. This is how high-level players build their folders, not just thinking about raw damage, but about the ability to continuously generate advantages. Ultimately, this isn't just a technical trick. It's a change in mindset. When you start aiming for that specific attack start frame, your entire approach to battles shifts. You start studying enemy patterns, anticipating moves, and using your folder as a precision tool, not just a blunt instrument. So next time you're playing, forget for a moment about trying to deal maximum damage and focus only on that perfect timing. It will take a few tries to get the hang of it, but when you finally manage to chain several counters in a row and see those big bangs appearing out of nowhere, that's when you'll understand why this is truly the secret that separates casual players from Star Force masters. Practice with patience. Your future self will thank you. Let me ask you something. How many times have you finished a difficult battle without really knowing which card made the difference? If the answer is many, you're probably falling into one of the most common traps in the Mega Man Star Force Legacy Collection, assembling that famous card soup, where there's a bit of everything and nothing really works together. I understand the temptation because as you unlock new cards, it seems like each one is more incredible than the last. But the truth is that a disorganized folder is the biggest enemy of your progress in the game. The solution is to build themed folders with 4 or 5 copies of the same key card. Choose 1 or 2 themes that complement each other and go deep on them. For example, Paraswords combined with Paralysis to immobilize the enemy and punish them with swords, or Freeze along with Grass Break to transform the field and deal area damage. Another solid combination is building a full non-elemental folder, specifically thinking about Rogue Noise. When you have multiple copies of the same card, the chances of it appearing at the right moment skyrocket. And that's when you start winning battles consistently, not by luck, but by strategy. In Star Force 3, this idea goes up a level because you can sync your folder's theme with your equipped noise. The most classic example of this is using Cygnus Noise along with Spread Shot 100. The spread shots trigger the noise bonus repeatedly, creating constant pressure on the enemy. Additionally, don't underestimate white cards and favorites, which are powerful tools to ensure the right cards appear from the very start of the battle. This consistency in the initial setup is what separates a good folder from an excellent one. But nothing I've said will replace real testing, and that's why online mode exists. When you put your folder against other real players, you quickly discover what is working and what is just pretty theory on paper. It might be that your favorite combination has an obvious weakness you didn't notice playing against the AI. So the cycle is this: build a solid themed folder, test online, adjust, and repeat. When you finally find that setup that fits your playstyle perfectly, you'll feel like every battle flows as if you already knew what was going to happen before the enemy even acted. This is the level every Star Force player should aim for. You know that stage of the game where you want to complete the 100% library, farm the best cards, and face all the bosses in their hardest versions, but it feels like it's going to take an eternity. I know exactly how frustrating that is. You keep walking through maps, random encounter after random encounter, spending more time in unnecessary battles than actually progressing. The good news is that the Mega Man Star Force Legacy Collection was designed to solve exactly that, with a set of toggles in the settings menu that completely transform the post-game experience. The first step is mastering encounter control. Set the encounter rate to minimum and use Hold R to completely zero out random encounters while you explore the map. This means you only fight when you want to fight, which in itself saves hours of gameplay. Then you combine this with Zenny drops at 500% and Mega Buster damage also at 500%, and the result is impressive. When you enter an intentional battle, it ends quickly, and you come out much richer. Add HP recovery after battle along with auto heal, and you practically never have to worry about HP management during long farming sessions. But the toggle that truly changes the post-game is the Star Force LC toggle, which activates the Navi locator. With it active, you can see the icons of EX, V2, and ZZ bosses scattered across the world directly on the map. This completely eliminates the need to memorize or consult a guide to know where each boss version appears. Want to complete the entire library? With the Navi locator, you plan your refight route surgically, going from boss to boss without wasting time, collecting exactly the cards you're still missing for that satisfying 100%. When you put all these toggles to work at the same time, the post-game that looked like an endless marathon turns into something genuinely fun and fast. It feels like the game gives you total control over how you want to play. If you want the real challenge, turn everything off. If you want to explore and complete efficiently, turn everything on and go for it. Few modern remasters offer this level of customization, and it's one of the biggest reasons why this collection is so special. Take advantage of each of these features because they were made exactly for players who want to extract everything Star Force has to offer without sacrificing hours of unnecessary grinding. If there is one mechanic in Star Force 3 that completely separates casual players from those who truly master the game, it's the noise change system. The first time you see the noise gauge filling up, it seems like just a nice visual detail. But when you understand what is happening beneath that bar, you realize the entire game was built around it. The first step is equipping the noise control program. It costs 0 memory, so there's no excuse to leave it aside. With it active, you start to have real control over how your noise level rises during battles. The way it works is elegant. Every counter hit you land and every bit of damage you deal feeds the noise gauge. When you reach 200% or more, you can trigger Finalize and transform into Black Ace or Red Joker, depending on your game. And then comes the reward that few players really know about. You gain access to the Meteor server folder, which is loaded with illegal gigas and noise force big bangs from all the noises you've collected. It's basically the game handing you a full arsenal of powerful cards as a prize for playing aggressive and smart at the same time. The detail that elevates this mechanic even further is the Meteor server level. It's not fixed. You can go up to LV12 using specific codes or by achieving Ultimate Finalize, which is basically reaching Finalize perfectly without taking damage in the process. The higher the level, the more powerful the cards the Meteor server offers you. This creates an incredible progression loop in the post-game. You become increasingly efficient at generating counters, the noise level rises faster, Finalize becomes more accessible, and the Meteor server grows along with you. And for those who are still getting to know the different noises available in the game, the Legacy Collection included the Transformation Archive, which is a fantastic tool. With it, you can test any noise without needing to fill the gauge from scratch, which makes the experimentation process much faster and funnier. Before building your entire folder around a specific noise, test it in the archive, see how the abilities behave in practice, and then decide if it's really what you want. It's this kind of planning that will make your noise change build devastating instead of just average. One of the things that impressed me most about the Mega Man Star Force Legacy Collection was realizing that the Brother Band system isn't just a social decoration. It's an entire layer of progression that most players completely ignore. Back in the days of the original DS games, you depended on who had the physical game nearby to make brothers, which greatly limited the system's potential. Now, with online support for up to 100 simultaneous Brother Bands, the game has changed completely. You have access to a level of build customization that simply didn't exist before. The key is to be strategic about who you make a brother band with and which buffs you prioritize. There's no point in filling 100 slots with just anyone. Think of brothers as pieces of your build. HP and attack plus buffs are always solid because they work in any situation, but specific brother forces are where the magic happens. A Mega Class +1, for example, which increases the level of your Mega cards, can completely transform your folder's damage ceiling. When you stack several of these buffs targeted at your play theme, every battle starts with an invisible advantage that your opponent simply can't see coming. In Star Force 2, this strategy gains an extra dimension with auto forms via wave command. Through codes in the Omega Axes menu, you can keep your tribal forms active all the time without consuming the brother power normally associated with them. This is huge because the tribal forms, Leo, Pegasus, and Dragon, fundamentally change how you access and use battle cards. Keeping a tribal form permanently active while still preserving your brother powers for other bonuses is exactly the kind of efficiency that defines a high-level player. What I like most about this tip is that it gives you a genuine reason to connect with the game's online community. It's not just solitary grinding. You are actively building a network of allies that strengthen your character in different ways. It's worth joining the Star Force communities on Reddit and Discord, sharing your brother band code, and discovering which builds other players are using. When you finally assemble your 100 brothers with well-chosen buffs and enter battle with all that accumulated advantage, you'll understand why this system was one of the most creative Capcom ever put in a Mega Man game. There's a combination of mechanics in Star Force that seems simple at first glance, but when you truly understand its potential, it completely changes how you behave in a battle. I'm talking about lock-on along with the shield, two resources that most players use in a basic and separate way without realizing that together they form both a defensive and offensive system. If you're still only using the shield when the situation gets desperate, or using lock-on just to reach distant enemies, you're leaving half the potential of these mechanics on the table. Lock-on, activated by pressing down on the D-pad, makes geo-teleport forward instantly. This serves to position short-range cards like swords, but the use few explore is as a manual dodge tool. Some enemy attacks have specific windows where teleporting pulls you out of the line of damage without needing a dedicated dodge card in your folder. When you start using lock-on reactively, reading enemy attack patterns, you free up space in your folder for offensive cards that previously occupied safety slots. It's an efficiency trade-off that changes the entire logic of your setup. The shield, in turn, blocks practically everything, with the exception of piercing attacks and direct contact damage. The trap many people fall into is holding the shield for too long, which cancels your Mega Buster charge at the worst possible moment. The trick is to cancel the shield early, right after absorbing the attack, to keep the charge active and enter offensive mode immediately. This rhythm of blocking and counterattacking quickly is what transforms the shield from a passive defensive resource into an active combat tool. Practice this timing until it becomes instinct, because it is fundamental for high-level battles. Now, when you combine all this with holy panels or buster panels on the field, the level goes even higher. On these panels, your character becomes a literal tank, Holy recovers HP while you're on it, and Buster amplifies your base damage, so standing strategically on one of these panels while alternating between shield and Buster charge creates absurd pressure on the enemy. You are simultaneously healing or dealing more damage while blocking attacks and keeping the charge alive. It seems like a lot to think about at once at first, but when this loop becomes automatic, you'll feel practically invincible in battles that previously seemed impossible. If there's one thing the Legacy Collection inherits directly from the Battle Network DNA and takes seriously, it's battlefield control. That 3x5 grid where you fight isn't just a static background, it's an active variable that can work for or against you depending on how you manage it. Most players enter a battle thinking only about the cards in their hand, but players who truly master the game are constantly looking at the floor, monitoring each panel, and planning how to transform the field into an amplifier for their own damage. The elemental logic of panels is straightforward but powerful when explored intentionally. Grass panels double the damage of fire cards when the enemy is on them, ice panels freeze enemies hit by aqua, and bubble panels double electric damage. This means that before dropping that heavy offensive card, it's worth spending a turn to put a grass panel or ice stage on the field. It seems like a sacrifice of time, but the return in damage is so absurd that you often finish the battle faster than if you had attacked directly. Controlling the field is attacking with 2 turns at once. In Star Force 3, this strategy reaches another level when you equip noises that have native grass, ice, or bubble bonuses. Some noises transform panels automatically or amplify elemental effects, meaning you don't even have to spend a card to prepare the field. The noise itself does it for you while you attack. Combined with a well-built elemental-themed folder, this synergy creates situations where practically every card you play is dealing amplified damage, shortening long battles, and making difficult bosses much more manageable. A detail that seems small but makes a huge difference in practice. Destroy enemy objects with the Mega Buster before using your cards. Rocks, ice cubes, and shield objects that enemies place on the field block your cards and waste valuable attack slots. The Buster is free, infinite, and perfect for clearing the field before you unleash a planned elemental combination. When you turn the act of clearing the field into an automatic habit, every card you play next has much more impact. It's this kind of tactical discipline that will make your game look completely different from someone who just reacts to what appears on the screen. There's an aspect of the Mega Man Star Force Legacy Collection that almost everyone ignores in the first few hours of play and only realizes how much time they wasted much later: the Mega Buster statistics. Most people treat the Buster as that basic attack you use when you don't have a good card in hand, a boring plan B. But when you understand that the Buster has 3 independent stats, 8 for damage, RA for firing speed, and CH for charge speed, and that each equipped weapon influences these numbers in different ways, you start seeing the Buster as a primary weapon, not an emergency resource. Choosing the right weapon depends on your playstyle. If you like to build up a charge and release a heavy shot at the right moment, prioritize weapons with high AT to maximize charged shot damage. If your plan is to use the Buster continuously to clear the field and generate constant pressure, then high RA and CH make more sense because they allow you to charge and fire in much faster cycles. There is no universal answer here. There is the right answer for your specific build, and finding that combination is part of what makes the Star Force post-game so satisfying. In Star Force 2 and 3, wave command codes open up a range of possibilities that go far beyond what the game shows on the surface. With them, you can unlock the EXE Blaster, which is essentially the Battle Network Buster transplanted into Star Force with all its unique personality and feel. But the permanent power-ups are what really stand out, plus 990 HP, fixed attack bonuses, and improvements that stay with you for the rest of your playthrough. These are tools Capcom placed there on purpose for players who want to push the limit of what the character can do, especially in post-game battles against ZZ versions of bosses. And then comes the Legacy Collection toggle that joins all this gloriously: Buster damage at 500%. With this toggle active, every shot from your Buster is already dealing absurd damage. And when you combine that with a high AT weapon, wave command codes, and a well-timed charged shot, the result is a damaged machine gun that transforms long battles into quick, brutal confrontations. It's that moment where you realize the Buster was never weak. It was just waiting for you to learn how to use it right. Try this combination and tell me how long you can survive without needing to use any cards. Reaching the post-game and looking at that incomplete library is a mix of satisfaction and determination. You've gone through the story, faced the main bosses, and now the game is telling you that the real adventure starts here. Completing the library 100% isn't just a cosmetic achievement. It's the path to unlocking the most epic confrontations the collection has to offer. Each gold and silver star you collect on the title screen is a step toward the secret bosses Capcom hid specifically for the most dedicated players. The central goal is clear: Collect all standard Mega and Giga cards to accumulate enough stars to unlock the final boss, Za and Infinity, as well as secret confrontations with Rogue, ZZ, and Burai SX. These are battles that test everything you've learned throughout the game, and reaching them is an achievement in itself. To make this process more efficient, the combination of the Navi locator with the 500% Zenny toggle is essential. The Navi locator shows you exactly where each boss version is on the map, and the Zenny bonus ensures you accumulate resources quickly to buy or farm the illegal cards and Gigas still missing from your collection. In Star Force 3, the post-game has an extra layer of depth that connects directly with everything you practiced during your playthrough. To reach Meteor Server LV-12, you need to have mastered the noise change system to the point of consistently achieving Finalize with Noise at max level. This means all those hours practicing counter hits, building themed folders synced with the right noise, and managing the noise gauge efficiently culminate here. Meteor Server LV-12 isn't just a number. It's proof that you've truly mastered the central system of the third game. What impresses me most about this journey to 100% is how the Legacy Collection made all this accessible without removing the challenge. The toggles, the Navi locator, the amplified Zenny, these are tools that shorten the grind without taking away the satisfaction of building the perfect folder and finally taking down that secret boss that seemed impossible. When you finally see that complete library and face the last bosses with everything you've learned, you'll understand that every tip, every mechanic, and every strategy you studied was part of a long preparation for this moment. And believe me, it's worth every second invested. If there's one feature in the collection that completely transforms the experience for those who want the best folder possible without spending weeks farming in solo mode, it's the revamped online system. Back in the days of the original games, multiplayer was extremely limited by DS technology. You needed people physically close with the cartridge in hand. Now, the collection has delivered full multiplayer with casual, ranked, and matches with friends. And this isn't just great for competing. It is the most powerful progression tool the game has. Trading rare cards and illegal data online is where the magic really happens. Cards that would take hours of specific farming to get can be obtained in minutes through a well-negotiated trade with another player. Illegal data especially, which normally requires specific battle conditions to drop, circulates much faster within the online community than any solo grinding session could replicate. And beyond the cards, Brother Bands made online transfer directly to single player, bringing those permanent buffs to HP, attack, and specific brother forces we discussed earlier. You're basically building your character collaboratively without even realizing it. The smartest part of this strategy is combining trading with assist mode active, leaving the encounter rate at 0 while you negotiate and explore. This means you can move through maps freely, farm cards in battles you intentionally choose, and at the same time maintain trade conversations with other players without being interrupted by random encounters every 5 steps. It's an efficiency that seems small on paper, but in practice transforms grinding sessions into something much more fluid and pleasant. The end result of all this is that the perfect folder, which once seemed like a utopia reserved for those with infinite time to farm, is now a genuinely achievable goal for any dedicated player. The Star Force community has always been passionate, and now with full online support, it has a real space to grow within the collection itself. So my final advice is this: don't play Star Force Legacy Collection as a solo game. Join the communities, make your brother bands, trade your cards, and let the collective experience power up what you are building individually. That's how you get the folder of your dreams without needing to sacrifice weeks of your life in the process.